Let's move on to extremely interesting, fascinating game number 2 that we're going to cover with you, Joe Gavassi. TCU at Texas. Now, Texas, of course, pounded USC last week. Texas is, getting a little bit tougher, offensively, but TCU, same old TCU, just awesome, super speedy on both sides of the ball. And of course, in the past 6 years or so, TCU has absolutely, unequivocally dominated Texas. From a one-loss perspective, from a yardage perspective, from an ATS perspective, any which way you look at it. Once again, we have a very short line here for TCU, a 3-point favorite. I was thinking that maybe the under might be the play here. The total has gotten bet down. It's down to 47.5. Joe Gavassi, what do you see here? Do you see yet another year of domination by TCU over in-state rival Texas?
I'm going to look at that history book once again, and you're absolutely right, Peter. Last 4 years, they've beaten them by 30 points per game, including 24-7 last year. That is a lot to overcome, even with a better coach in Herman coaching for the Longhorns. Quote from Patterson here this week. He said, if I had to beat either Ohio State or Texas, it would be the Longhorns. Now, that came after he lost to Ohio State, so he doesn't have much choice but to say that. But I really believe in his heart that he believes that, and he's clearly made this game a focus for his team. And until the Longhorns get a little more players of the same quality as the Frogs, including that speed, as you brought up and mentioned before, I think they're going to have more ability to dominate Texas. The game against Ohio State was actually closer than the final score. Yardage was even with both teams over 500 yards. A -3 net turnover margin means you only have a 10% chance to beat the spread, and yet TCU did that, covering by a half point in most spots, losing by only 12, 40-28. Much like Wisconsin, I like them to bounce back here this week as a short road favorite, and I like them doing it against head coach Herman, even in the underdog role. Now, we know that at Houston, Herman was a great underdog, yes, and he carried that over to his year with the Longhorns. Total combined as a head coach, he's now 10-1 against the spread as an underdog. You might question, who did he lose to as an underdog? Well, he lost to this team last year in the matchup last year when he lost 24-7. So I think that could well happen again. Longhorns were phenomenal last week. Fall behind 14-3, and after the first 2 games, a loss to Maryland and a close escape versus the Golden Hurricane, it looked like they may not be for real this year, but they stormed back with a 34-0 finish to the game. They outrushed USC 160 to -5. This Longhorn team is going to improve throughout the year, just as they did last year for Herman, but I think there's too much history behind it, a little too much speed for the Frogs. I'm going to go with TCU -3 here.
All right, TCU -3, -108. Ian Cameron, what do you think? Of course, there's a new coach for Texas, so maybe some changes will be in the offing in subsequent years, but maybe this year it's basically the same old, just too much speed, too much talent, and TCU rolls again. What do you think?
It's very possible. There's been a matchup edge with TCU in this series. I mean, it has been, and it's played out that way. However, for the first, I've a neutral or on Joe's side with everything he's liked. I'm against him here. I'm going with Texas here, plus the 3 as an official pick in this game. It's Tom Herman in the underdog rule. That's really, I'm going back to that same old recipe. It's a recipe that's treated me well in Herman's career, going back to Houston when I remember him winning for me as an underdog in the bowl game against Florida State that year. It was the Peach Bowl, and he was an underdog. And he's just a coach that in that role, it's been almost wash, rinse, repeat, being able to cash your ticket. And I'm concerned for TCU. That was a let the gas completely out of the tank game against Ohio State last week. Leave it all hanging out there on the football field. Now you got to rally the troops after that loss for another big game, a tough game. You're traveling again. You're on the road here against this Texas team. I think it's a dangerous spot. I saw TCU's defensive front last week get bullied a little bit. Remember, Ross Blaylock, key defensive tackle, has not played a game yet this season. This is the game where that injury absence, I think, could show up here against this Texas team that obviously would much rather run the football than throw it. Ellinger, not a great passer. They would rather run it. I think they're going to be able to have a little bit of success here. And I'm not in love with the spot here for TCU after that Ohio State game. Texas, I know. Are they back on track now because they beat USC? I'm still not sure. But you know what they say? Bruce Springsteen from the 80s, you can't start a fire without a spark. You can't start a fire without a spark, and you can't get back on track until you win. Texas maybe lights that fire with a spark with that win against USC last week, and I think they can carry it over here. I'll go Texas +3, and I'll make it official.
All right. Well, one of the flip side of being honest and transparent in our record keeping here is that we do also always line shop and give you the best line. It is a little bit of a split line. Bet Online, Bet Mania, Bet Phoenix, a few places have +3.5, and some of those are at 110. So we're going to give you Texas +3.5 at -110. That, of course, could wind up being a key number there. It sounds to me like maybe you would endorse then, Ian Cameron, a lean, my play on, which is right now, I haven't bet it, and I haven't made an official pick, but I'm thinking about the under. I do agree with you. I think we're going to see a lot of running from Texas. I think that TCU's defense is going to be awesome as ever, as always. And what do you think about the under?
Yeah, no argument. I think Texas is going to be a team that offensively is going to want to control things on the ground this year. I mean, I think Tom Herman would love personally, based on what we've seen from him in the past, to throw the ball, take more chances, take more deep shots. But I'm sure he's probably thinking, I'm just not sure I have the consistency right now with my quarterback play to do that. So I expect a run-heavy attack here from Texas. Yeah, I would lean under as well.
All right, Joe Gavassi, so you're going to go head-to-head with Ian Cameron. Joe Gavassi, you're going to get -3. Ian Cameron's going to get +3.5. And if you have nothing to say about what I'm going to ask you, that's fine. But what do you think about the under? You think the under might be worth a play, or would you advise me to hold off that, Joe?
I'm going to hold off on that total play again because of the speed of the Frogs. And this is a crazy rivalry game. I could see a lot happening in this game.
All right. I'll do it. I'll throw the under 48 as an official pick. It's 47.5 market wide. Bet Phoenix has 47, but the Greek has 48. I'll make that one an official pick. I hope that you're right, Ian Cameron, that we see a lot of running for Texas and a lot of tough play in the trenches and maybe some conservative game calling from Texas to try to keep this one close and steal it at the end. I'll take a shot with the under 48. So here we go. I'm on the under 48. Ian Cameron and Joe Gavassi going head-to-head on the spread. And, of course, line shopping here at SBR Odds. You can see that there is a split line as of right now. We'll see where this line closes, but Ian Cameron's going to get 3.5, and Joe Gavassi is going to get -3. Great breakdowns and analysis.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.